When You Eliminate the Impossible. Written by Micah. Read by Drew Grimm. Note from the author: Sherlock Holmes, his universe, and the characters within were created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This story is dedicated to my friend Robbie. Happy birthday.
Document found by the deathbed of Mr. Robert Angell, London, the 5th of May, 1941. My name is Robert Angell, and this is my final confession. I am the 6 Baker Street Irregular, an investigative force created by my childhood hero. He was the greatest detective who ever lived in England, and no doubt anywhere else. He taught me how to solve puzzles of any kind. He taught me logical axioms that stayed with me forever. Life is infinitely stranger than anything which the mind of man could invent. You see, but you do not observe. And finally, when you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. While these philosophies laid the foundations of his logical brain, I found all too quickly that they didn't cover everything. Was this why I paved my own way to the truth, whatever it may be? For I discovered that life was certainly infinitely stranger than anything his logic could explain. I was staring at such an anomaly just below him, 25 feet below Baker Street, in the dark and mysterious sewers of Marylebone. I found something. It began 5 years before, denying me any chance to prove myself to him. My hero had dismissed me once again with a condescending flick of his long, nervous fingers. I left his room at Baker Street, but I was loath to return to the streets, with their hostility towards those of my ilk. Crime, darkness, fog, they all swallowed up children like me. So I decided to explore his immediate environs instead, a wandering quest that led me to the sewers of London. I learned their twists and turns better than any irregular. And when these twists and turns ironically led me back directly to underneath Baker Street, that's when I saw it. A tear, hanging in space, a gash in the air, an opening to something dark. I would swear to anyone that it wasn't there before. Speaking of axioms, there's one among the spiritualists I learned from Dr. Doyle. You're more likely to discover the supernatural when you aren't looking for it. He also told me that some locations were magnets for supernatural activity, and despite my hero's protests, Doyle suspected Baker Street was one such place. Clearly, Dr. Doyle was right. What an irony that the home of the most logical person in the world was also the home to this. It pulsated and somehow glowed. It was perhaps 5.5 inches long and perhaps 0.5 inches wide, but it seemed to have no other visible dimensions. I should know, for in my shock upon its discovery, I slowly walked around it. I carefully applied my hero's methods to see and observe. I could not see the environment directly behind it, only an infinite expanse of darkness. This was also true while staring from its other side. Meanwhile, I observed no other discernible effect upon its surroundings. The sewer's own darkness, incessant dripping, even rats, seemed to be unconcerned by its presence. I told no one, not even my hero, anything regarding what I had accidentally discovered. Who would believe me anyway? I even led some irregulars to it, saying nothing of what they might find, but none of them saw it. They either laughed or threatened me for dragging them to the sewers, wasting their time. Why was I the only one who could see it, despite my faith in my hero's unshakable logic? I had an irrational instinct that I was destined to find it. I, and no one else. Did this explain why no one else could discover it, no matter how many years would pass? I think so, because for the next 5 years, I spent every moment studying it and the supernatural. I listened to Dr. Doyle and his stories of fairies, and even attended seances with him. Despite my hero's protests, I became a member of the Society for Psychical Research and a member of the Order of the Golden Dawn. I even attended rituals of the Satanist movement of London. And thanks to these mysterious masters, I began to observe strange patterns from within our reality. But this curiosity also led me down more scientific paths. I spent time with scientist and scribe Mr. Wells, absorbing everything I could regarding his theories of time and space. He even invented a strange machine to test those theories. As this is my confession, I will confess to a crime even my hero couldn't solve. I was the one who stole Wells's strange machine. It pulsated and even glowed next to this strange rift. Was it my imagination? Or were they pulsating, glowing together? I adjusted the settings, alterations I made to Wells's machine I learned from the magicians, and then I stepped back to observe this strange experiment. It was not my imagination. The strange machine and the tear were pulsating in unison. They were even buzzing together, an unearthly, unexpected duet of science, harmonizing with the supernatural. My calculations didn't anticipate this. Was I wrong about this experiment, and therefore my destiny? Had I gone too far? I decided that it was too late to stop now. My fingers started to twitch like those of my hero. I flipped the final switch. The calculations proved correct. With the aid of Wells's machine, the tear began to widen. As I hoped, I might be able to peer deeper. Its infinite darkness somehow stretched. I gazed into its void. Then, despite all the years of careful calculations, something happened I could not have anticipated. A form began to emerge. At first, I could not make out its blurry details. I adjusted the settings again. Then, like my hero turning the knob of his microscope, the details began to sharpen. A vaguely humanoid shape, with limbs and even a head. I thought its face was featureless, but I was wrong, for it opened its eyes, 2 globes of blue coal, and then they saw me. But then another feature emerged, a mouth full of stingers, the minuscule, murky, mysterious mandibles multiplied as its mouth morphed into a maw of malice. The thing was silently screaming. As if in synchrony with this vision, my mouth opened. I was silently screaming too. And I found my body reacted, not unlike my voice. I couldn't move a muscle as the otherworldly thing stared at me, still silently screaming. Finally, I tore through the terror and forced myself to pick up a metal mallet. I furiously smashed the malignant machine to pieces, but not before I made some final, harrowing observations into the tear. For the thing started buzzing. Then translucent wings appeared from its back, and it floated. My God, was Doyle right, I thought, still savagely swinging. Can those things really exist? My mind raced. I was reminded of some terrible truths. Despite wishes to the contrary, I wasn't the sixth irregular. My hero kept rejecting me. I have 5. That's enough, he said with dismissive gestures. Besides, I do care for you too much, Master Robbie. If you work with me, you'll be exposed to horrors. These horrors may become patterns. They will become your reality. Was he talking about this? Smashing the machine to bits, I came to these realizations. The tear is the pattern. The horror is the reality. A final mallet strike, and the machine was no more. I saw the thing's silent scream for a final moment. Then the tear closed. Forever. I scattered the machine's pieces throughout the sewer's tunnels. No one, not even someone as clever as my hero, would ever be able to bring it back to life. I told no one what happened. I refused to be remanded to a sanitarium. I held on to my sanity as best I could. But there was yet another reason to keep my silence. For, not unlike the tear itself, the greatest horror of all was just for me. For despite its bulbous eyes, its teeth, its wings, the thing reminded me of myself. May our master, whoever he may be, have mercy on me and my mortal soul.
Lagaine Bybor had been rejected from the regulators, an investigative force created by the Hive. They buzzed some excuse about Leglin's inability to grasp reality. Leglin paid them no heed, for he knew something about reality they did not. Only 25 rentums under their planet's crust floated a tear, a gash in its atmosphere, an opening to something dark. Leglin would swear to anyone that it wasn't there before. He discovered it after the Hive's latest rejection, when he decided to explore underneath them. Leglin's attempt to show it to some active regulators, but none of them saw it. They either laughed or threatened Leglin for wasting their time. Leglin's instinct was that he was destined to find it, Leglin and no one else. For the next 5 orbits, Leglin studied everything he could. This included countless Tibar holes into his species' expansive history, all the way to Earth, before evolving into the Hive.
terrifying-looking creatures, Leglin thought. His efforts also included the theft of the hive's most advanced technology, along with alterations Leglin learned from the forbidden scientists. The machine pulsated and even glowed next to the rift, and then Leglin stepped back to observe this strange experiment. Had he gone too far? He decided that it was too late to stop now. His wings started to twitch. He flipped the final switch.